This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions Den. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to what's next for the Leos. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Welcome to BC Lions on Tap on AM 730, the Lions Audio Network. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, just as the man said, along with Nick Kowalski and Matt Baker from the Lions social media team. Coming to you tonight from the Boston Pizza in Guildford, 101 Avenue and 151st Street, just off 152nd, of course. Big thanks to Yash for having us back here at Boston Pizza. We're well fed and we're ready to talk some football for the next half hour or so. And the Lions coming off a bye week, Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski. And we'll get to our guest in a second, Mr. Jarell Broxton. But, man, nice to get back at it. I kind of missed football that last week. I mean, it was nice getting a break, but 4 or 5 days in, you're like, okay, let's get back to the routine here.
Yeah, creatures of habit, right? You know, even though guys like us, we're not playing the game, but Nick and I involved on a day-by-day basis. After 2-3 days, you start to feel a little disoriented. But good to have a break, and we got a great stretch drive here, 6 games in 6 weeks.
And you got a little time off. We both got up to Whistler.
Yeah.
You were up there 3-4 days. Of course, you have you make way more money than I do. I can only afford one day. Kowalski, what did you do during the bye
you
week?
could only afford one day, but you stayed in the swankiest spot up there. Come on, look who's talking.
Nick, what about you?
The highlight of my bye week was going kayaking in Deep Cove. I haven't done it before. I've been on my bucket list for a while. Did it on Saturday morning. It was beautiful.
All right, there you go.
He's a West Coaster officially
You
now.
got me beat because I've never been in a kayak in my life, nor do I think anybody wants to see me in a kayak. You know what would look good in a kayak? Our guest, Jarell Broxton.
Absolutely.
6'5", 325. Have you ever been in a kayak, Jarell?
I have in college.
Really?
Yep. I have, yep.
And what was that experience like?
It was a good experience actually. I kind of like being in nature and in the water and stuff. So
cool.
I mean, you get a little workout with it too.
See? So you did have a week off with the bye. What were you up to?
Just getting treatment, working out, and that's about it. And hanging out, playing the game. Just some downtime away from football.
You need that, don't you?
You do. Yeah. I think for the mental.
Yeah, I was just about to say more mentally than physically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you look at this season with the BC Lions, the stretch drive is coming up. How would you assess the team's performance thus far?
I think it's a solid season. We're doing really good, and of course we can do a lot of things better. And I feel like we're striving in the right direction. So this 6-game stretch, want to win every one, be the first in the West, and I think every day and every week we come to work and prove that.
Offensive line got some accolades after the Montreal game. The top graded unit by Pro Football Focus, PFF. I know not everyone takes stock in those grades, but how much pride does the unit take on getting that recognition?
We take a lot of pride in just recognition, period, just from our game grades from our coach and all that. So, PFF is just I think it's just a bonus on top. I know you could say a lot about it, like, how are they grading us or how do we got such low grades or whatever, but just to be noticed by it, because that's kind of what they do, it's a good feeling.
Your first full season as a starter, the departure of Joel Figueroa was an opening at left tackle. Of course, you filled that for him in the Western semifinal against Calgary. He was out with an injury. Overall, how would you say you've adjusted to a regular starting position here, Jarell?
I feel like I was always ready. I just waited my turn. I feel like I've done that for a lot of points in my football career. Is kind of like waiting my turn, and then once I proved myself, it's kind of like, hey, like what took so long for us to play him? So I just took the opportunity going into camp knowing that I'm gonna be a starter, and so I just fully embraced it coming into the season.
Jarell, something I've seen and been happy about is that you've been looking at midseason All-Star predictions or even PFF's grades for their All-Stars this season, and your name's popping up at the left tackle position. And I find that, especially for the Most Outstanding Lineman Award, it's kind of hard to break that mold when there's all these veterans in this league that kind of just get in that mix no matter what. But how much of an honor is it to kind of be in those lists right now as the season goes on?
Just to be in that like conversation, like it's a great achievement. It lets me know that the work that I put in is like actually, it's proved. So I'm gonna just keep working at it. I try not to get too much into that, but I'm going to just keep working and try to get a Grey Cup, honestly. But if that comes with it, that's a great accolade as well.
Jarell, you talk about the journey in the sense that I know a couple of years ago you got a start and you wound up suffering an injury. I believe it was, what was it, tricep or a bicep?
Bicep.
Yeah, you tore your bicep in your first start. And I just remember at the time thinking to myself, man, what a horrible break in the sense that you'd persevered so much, that you'd fought so much to get to that level. I mean, you went through the whole NFL practice roster thing. You're in Baltimore among other teams. You come up here, you go through a training camp, you're learning this game, you finally get that opportunity, and you suffer a season-ending injury. And I'm thinking to myself, man, it's like that's hard to swallow. What kept you going through all of this to the point where now people are talking about you potentially being an all-star?
Just, I mean, even before that injury, just all the adversity I went through before that is just like it's always been taking a different route than just being it handed to me. So just knowing like, hey, this is an injury, and I mean, I've had the injury before on my other arm. So I was just like, I'm going to attack this rehab and come back and make sure that I'm fully strengthened when camp comes back around, that I'm ready when my name is called or wherever they need me.
You were talking about going through adversity before. What's kept you going through all that?
Having a great support system, family, friends, and just also like loving the game too. Just wanting to give it everything that I have just until the tank is empty. So that's how I look at it.
We were talking to Smoke Mizell earlier this year, and one of the things he had mentioned, he hadn't played a game in like 3 years. And people forget that, once you bounce around these training camp, rosters or practice rosters in the NFL, a lot of times you don't play for like a couple of years. And then when you get back to playing, you're like, damn, this is fun.
Man, I understand Smoke, because Smoke, he was on the Ravens when I was there my last year. He came in as a rookie, and I ain't played football for about a year and a half. So after the Ravens, so like I had to play arena and all that stuff. So just having that drive, when you do get back into playing football, it's like, man, like this is what I've been missing, like the camaraderie with the guys and just like that brotherhood and stuff you miss.
How'd you wind up getting into the CFL? I mean, was it Ryan Rigmaiden that reached out, or who?
Yeah, it was Ryan reached out. I think he was talking to one of my teammates in the arena league, and I think like he kind of like put my name in there in the mix. So like he kind of gave me that shot.
So what was your initial reaction when you heard Canadian Football League?
I already knew about it. It was kind of like I knew it was one of the top leagues, just period of football in the football world. So like I kind of just was like, hey, CFL, that's good. I'm back outside. I can play. So like, let's do it.
There you go. Jarell Broxton is our guest. This is Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network. More coming up as we will hear from Jarell and talk to him about, well, his start in football and also what to expect during the course of the final stretch drive for the Lions. Hey, and people, don't forget this. Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia coming up as well. All that and more. BC Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network.
Now, back to Lions on Tap. Here again is Bob Marjanovic.
It's the Moj coming to you from Boston Pizza, 101 and 151st in Guildford. Big thanks to Yash, of course, for having us here again. And, of course, this is BC Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network. Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions social media team here as always. And our guest tonight is the starting left tackle for the BC Lions, Mr. Jarell Broxton. Jarell, we were talking about the journey off the air, but tell us a little bit about growing up in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Oh man, small. It's a small place, but it's around a bunch of places, and I mean that's home. That's where a lot of my friends are that I still talk with, hang with in the off season. I mean, my mom is from Rockville, my dad's from DC, but also, well, he was also raised in Savannah, Georgia as well. So, I mean, Gaithersburg, Maryland, it's a small place, but it's around a bunch of cities. I mean, we call it the DMV, around DC, Maryland, Virginia. So,
did you grow up playing a lot of sports, or did you just kind of gravitate toward it as an end? I mean, is your family into it? I mean, tell us the background of sports.
I mean, growing up, basketball was my first love. I think my dad got me into. Both my parents got me into playing basketball, so I was playing basketball all the way up to like middle school. And one time I was just getting big, so like they was like try football, And they told me, I don't remember it, but they told me my first time, they said, hey, play football. I didn't want to play. so I didn't play. And then eventually it's like, hey, just try it. Like, try it again. So I actually tried it, and then I ended up liking it. And I was still playing basketball, but then, like, once it got to, like, high school, I was just like, man, I'm too big to play this position, like, center and stuff. Like, I'm, like, 290, and only, like, 6'4", 6'3". So I stuck with football, and it was just up from there. And that's the only two sports I really played.
Yeah, I know in Kamloops during training camp at the facility up there that sometimes there's some pickup basketball games going on.
And I'm always there.
Yeah,
I got to be there.
I was just about to say, who's got the best game, do you think?
Man, I've only seen a little. Josh Banks got some game, and I think I got some game. I think I'm one of the better hoopers on the team.
Okay.
So
good stuff.
Nice.
Jarell Broxton is our guest here. Lions on Top, coming to you from the Boston Pizza Guildford.
Yes, so you grew up in Maryland, like we talked about. Your football journey takes you to Lackawanna College in Pennsylvania. You transferred to Baylor for junior and senior year. Was it safe to say Baylor is where your career really took off?
I think my junior year in Lackawanna did, because, I mean, I earned a bunch of scholarships. And then actually, my highlight tape on YouTube from Lackawanna, it's actually a crazy highlight tape. But, yeah, I mean, once I got to Baylor, I feel like that's when my name started really ringing bells more. And my senior year, I took off. Like, my junior year, I didn't start a few games, but then I ended up starting. But then my junior year, I feel like I was healthy the whole season, played, and then got, like, all Big 12. So
you had a Cotton Bowl experience against Michigan State with the Baylor Bears. Take us through that experience.
Going into that week, that was the first year playoffs happened. And so I was just that was a good experience. That was the first year, and I'm mad that we weren't in the playoffs that year, but we were one of the better teams and we played Michigan State. So it was a good experience, but then I hated how it ended, because we ended up losing by 1 point, and we were up the whole game. I for sure thought this one was ours, but it was a bittersweet moment.
Well, I think the iconic memory from that Cotton Bowl game, though, is, I'm sure people have seen this, but there's a famous photo of Toronto Argonauts defensive lineman Sean Oakman.
Yeah.
And during the coin toss. So he was your teammate at the time. Do you remember, I guess, after the games, did you guys in the locker room see that photo, or do you remember, like...
I think it was like a day after we seen it, and it was just like, people just started making these memes, and it was just like, it was funny at first, but then, like, people started dragging it, but... He did look huge in that picture, though. I won't lie.
I'm going to go a little deeper. Forget Baylor. I'm going high school, right? We've records and research here. Quince Orchard High School.
Yeah.
Right? I did a little math and did some digging. Our Lady of Good Counsel High School. You ever play them?
We haven't. They're a private school, but
okay.
I know of them.
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs went there.
I was just about to say, did you ever play Diggs? Because you guys are both 93s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys never played against
Never played against each other. But
yeah.
I have people that grew up like on the same Little League team as him.
Okay.
Like, they played with him, but he was in private school, so I never played against him.
Okay. Well, there you go. That answered that question. So stretch drive is coming up. You look at this team and you look at the competition around the league. I mean, everyone's talking about Toronto. Everyone's talking about Winnipeg. Do you kind of feel like it's a good thing to kind of fly under the radar a little bit? Because, you know, we talked about it earlier, getting that chip on your shoulder. People aren't talking about the BC Lions in the same vein as they're talking about the Argonauts and the Blue Bombers.
I feel like, yeah, it's good to have a chip on your shoulder because, I mean, catching everybody by surprise is like, oh, yeah, BC Lions, it's like, just like in the beginning of the season, it's like, oh, yeah, this is the real deal team. We still are the real deal team. But, you know what I mean? Things didn't work out in the season, a few games, but, I mean, everybody has a loss this season. So yeah. I think being under the radar is good for us. It keeps us humbled. It keeps us just knowing, like, we're going to put the work in and reach for that goal.
Ottawa, what do you see on film? What type of challenges do they pose? Despite their record, they've been in a lot of close games too, right?
Yeah, I think they have a great defense. Their front seven is solid. Probably, you know what I mean, you can arguably say one of the best in the league. And I feel like they got a lot of good things going, but, you know what I mean, it just didn't click or whatever it is, the problem is they're having. But I think it's a good team, and, you know, you can't take them lightly just because of their record. You
got probably Lorenzo Malden you're going to see a lot of course, the Eastern nominee for Defensive Player of the Year last year. But I've always talked about this, like, on defense, they always talking about setting things up and how much of a chess match it is. Trying to set up an O-line, and maybe you go outside hard a couple times, then you get to cut back in, etc. How much do you play into that chess match when you're an offensive lineman?
Film. I just watch a lot of film, see what they do consistently, and as well, like you want to as an O-lineman kind of go into your bag of like like how you're setting them, or like some plays where we have some plays where we're jump setting, or it's a bunch of stuff where you just watch a bunch of film on that person and trying to learn their tendencies by watching it, and then when you go out there, kind of play it out and see how it is, and then once you kind of figure it out, then I feel like that's when the chess match begins.
Do you want to start taking away some of the things they do best? Like, they always talk about that from a game planning perspective, from a team perspective, but even from an individual perspective, if you've got a guy that his forte is to get that edge and rush outside, do you feel like, okay, I'm going to take that away, and if you want to beat me, try beating me inside?
Always. But I always talk to Ken, our right tackle. I always talk to him about like, how do you want to set this person, or what are you going to do with this person? Like, we kind of go back and forth and give each other pointers on like defenders and like how we're going to set it up and stuff. But I usually just I just go with the game plan and see how it is, and then I don't want to give away a lot of stuff, how I play, but yeah, for sure. Just the tape just says it all, but I let a person think what they can do and then kind of like counter it.
Well, we're going to let you run. We appreciate you stopping by tonight.
Absolutely.
And a big thank you for joining us here on Tap.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, sir.
That is Jarell Broxton of the BC Lions, starting left tackle in the house here at Boston Pizza in Guildford. Of course, we're in the neighborhood. If you're in the neighborhood, pop on by 101st Avenue and 151st Street. Big thanks to Yash and his staff for having us again. On the other side, Nick Kowalski's world-famous, I know you've been waiting for it, world-famous BC Lions trivia. You're listening to Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network.
Now, back to Lions on Tap. Here again is Bob Marjanovic.
Hey, it's the Moj, coming to you from Boston Pizza in Surrey. We are at Yash's Boston Pizza here. Yash always taking care of us. 101st Avenue and 151st Street. A big thank you to Yash and his staff for having us again. Of course, we do have Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski with us from the Lions social media team, and we are going to get to Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia. People from all over the world listening, all the way from Mission to Montreal tonight. What do you got for us, Nick?
We got a new game. It's called the Timeline.
Mission to Montreal.
Classic. So you guys got to look at my screen here. So I got a timeline.
Photoshop. Let's go.
You know this is radio, right, Nick?
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk it out.
Okay.
We're going to talk it out. So the timeline is all based around a coach by the name of Rick Campbell.
Heard of him.
So Rick Campbell.
By the way, very quickly, love the scruffy look with the beard.
He's got his playoff beard going.
He's got like a 5-day growth going. It's good. Looks tough.
So I'm going to give you guys a bunch of questions about when they happen on the timeline. The first date on this timeline is November 30th, 2014. The resemblance to that date, it was the last Grey Cup at BC Place.
Okay.
So my first question for you guys, Rick Campbell's first win as the Ottawa Redblacks head coach, did that come before or after November 30th?
After.
Before.
Baker's got you there.
2014 was Ottawa's first.
It came on July 18th,
against Toronto. There was no touchdowns scored either, I don't think.
July 18th, 2014.
Why I remember this, I don't know. But anyway.
Okay, let's go with the next question. So Rick Campbell was a coach for the Calgary Stampeders once upon a time. When was that? Was that before or after these two dates?
Way before.
That was way before.
2012
right.
there. Yeah.
July 2010, he was the running backs coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did Dominique Rhymes' first 1,000-yard season under Rick Campbell come?
2019?
2018.
It was 19. Moj got it.
Ah, nice job.
October of 2019 is when this happened. So now it gets a little tougher because now you got to pin some dates there. This is a fun one I got too. So the infamous "You Can Shove It" Henry Burris TSN halftime interview. The only reason that it happened under Rick Campbell's tenure. Mm-hmm. When did that happen? You got a timeline here?
Well, between 2014 and 2019.
Got it right. It happened in 2016. So that's a correct question. When did Rick Campbell win his second Grey Cup? That's all I'm giving you.
His second Grey Cup he would have won.
2012, I'm going to guess.
2000. I'm going to go 2000.
It was Edmonton.
I'm going to go 2016.
You guys are both wrong. He won too early.
2005. 2003 and 2005.
2005. So that's an incorrect
Two
answer.
with
But
Edmonton.
that's way on the other side of the pendulum. So
Okay.
that's November 2005.
I like this.
Let's go next one. When did Rick Campbell win his Grey Cup with the Ottawa Red Blacks? You guys-
2016.
When though? Was it in between November 30th, 2014?
It would be after August 6, 2016. It'd be at the
It'd
tail
be
end of the
November
season.
20th, 2016 or
Correct.
something, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
No, it was November 27th. Bake,
Yeah.
you're wrong.
How about when
Point Moj.
Well, I don't know the exact date. It was
Rick
2016.
Campbell? Rick Campbell has won Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Do you guys know which year that was? And when can you pinpoint it on this timeline?
I'm going to go 2015.
I'm going to go 16.
It was 2015. Baker has it, November 26th.
Okay.
Made it to the Grey Cup that year
Nice
and lost.
graphics, by the way,
Yeah.
Kowalski. It looks really good.
We even got our proper branding highlights.
looks good.
Shout out Hillary.
Thank you, Hillary. Yes.
This is just an Ottawa Red Blacks question, and it ties into Rick Campbell. When did OSEG take ownership of the Ottawa franchise? Puts in the timeline.
I'm going to go 2012 for say. They came in 14, but they owned it ever since, right? So they must have been awarded it in like 2012.
2014.
You guys are way off. It's 2008.
What?
March 25th, 2008 is when
They were
OSEG
awarded the franchise that early. Okay.
So that's way early in the timeline. We got a couple more here to end it off. When did the BC Lions hire Rick Campbell? Where is this on the timeline?
December 2019. I'm going to say December 2nd or something.
You nailed it. That's the exact. That is the exact date. The BC
It's
Lions
almost
hired Rick
it's
Campbell.
almost like I wrote the article or something. But
I think the guy who wrote the press release would probably have a pretty good idea when we.
I did not write the press release, but I did some content
Okay.
around it.
Well, let's
yes.
get Moj to nail us one. When did the Ottawa Red Blacks hire Rick Campbell officially?
2014.
You're off by a bit. Do you got to guess, Baker?
December 2013. Let's say
Baker's on it. He got December 6th.
Well, you
is the
figure it
actual
has to
date.
be the 2013 off season.
It's the
right?
2014 season.
Well, it's happened in the year
You
2013.
got me on a technicality.
So there's a timeline right there
All
for
right.
Rick
Good
Campbell.
job.
Good stuff. Great stuff.
Great stuff.
Good stuff, Nick. All right, before we get out of here, Matt Baker, Ottawa Red Blacks are in town this Saturday. Tell us what's going on.
Rick Campbell looking to go to 5-0 against the Ottawa Red Blacks, by the way. Hasn't lost to his old team yet. Future Stars Night, we're calling it amateur football games going on pregame, postgame. The backyard party has a kids scavenger hunt and lots of kids and adult games to play. Tickets starting at just $25, youth 17 and under in for $10. $5 Molson Coors products and barbecue. I know where Moj and Nick will be hanging out. 1 o'clock backyard party presented by Play Now Sports.
Let's get a barbecue. I'm there.
Let's get a W.
If people want more info, how do they go about it?
BCLions.com/Future Stars. All the ticketing options.
And by the way, check out BC Lions on Twitter, or actually it's called X now,
X.
Moj. Check it all out on X and on Instagram. Of course, Nick Kowalski and the group doing a tremendous job with all the visuals. For us, that is a wrap. Special thanks to our operator behind the scenes, Mike Whittingham, second best in the business next to T-Mart. And again, you know what I'm going to tell you.
He's on the podium. Yeah.
You got to go out there, light it up, rip it up. Just do us a favor, folks. Be safe.